What's going on, Solid Steppers? What's up, Tech the Titans? Like, share, and subscribe, because guess what? They go up banger. I can't wait. This is hot off the presses. And, shout out to my boy Slick in South Carolina. My boy from ABC, always getting it in. Real estate, appliance repair, the trades. He laying floors. He doing all kind of stuff. He getting the bag. And he is so far ahead, but he quiet with his game. So I love that dude. Shout out to Slick. But we finna get into it. 2025 is the year that if you ain't got a bag, they ain't gonna give you time to get your bag up. If you don't come out here with a bag and a continuous bag, you already failing before you start. This is why you gotta have a mentor. He was like, Shell, did you make a video about the importance of having a mentor? We were talking about how far he came. He'd done several businesses, from working on cars, flipping cars, repairing this, doing that, making his own money, working a job 9 to 5, and how until he got a mentor, he couldn't really line it up and be consistent. We talked about how he's doing something that works, but it gets boring, but he got to stay on course. This is what I'm talking about, y'all, and I'm getting ready to hit so many levels. Y'all better just pull out your notepad. In fact, make sure you save it, stop, pause, and make notes, because I'm gonna let it just overflow, because I'm so tired of people out here thinking they can watch a video and get it. Those days are over, because money's moving fast, and the bag is moving faster, and the target's moving twice as fast, because it's smoke and mirrors. And when I'm saying that, let me tell you something. Used to be a time you could get into the trades with little or no money and work your way up. Anybody telling you can still do that? Like I was telling Slick, I said, dude, you live in South Carolina. I said, they coming to get y'all bag too. I said, I'm down here in South Florida, where everything's high as hell, from the insurance, whether it's car insurance, house insurance, commercial, business, liability, workers' comp, all of it's just double, triple high because of where I live. I said, so my expenses for my business are double, triple what yours is. And then we talked about how they were building data centers out there, and how he was watching these towns just blow up, and how he had property in proximity, and how he was prepping for the wave that was coming. See, that was because he had a mentor that told him, go out here and get this tax lien property, grab this stuff for $2,000, $3,000, build out this house, get your stuff together. He even got land. I remember the day he went and wrote a check for X amount of dollars and just bought so many acres of land. And he was proud he was able to do it. It was sitting in the bank because he had an appliance repair business. He had enough money flowing through that he could stack that debt. And he used the system, the blueprint. And then he parlayed that money. And this is what I'm talking about, why you got to have a mentor. Number one, when I first got into the appliance repair game, everybody was just treating me like a pariah, because I kept telling them, you need to structure your business credit because you need to protect your personal. I did this in 2019, and everybody was like, nah, you ain't got to do all this, you ain't got to do all that. Well, guess what? How many people are out of business because they got in, they didn't have the resources to buy the parts, didn't have the resources to buy the equipment, didn't have so that they could service a certain caliber of customer and make a certain dollar, didn't have the money to pay for proper training. Let me tell you something. I don't care how mechanical you are. Your job as a professional is to stay on top of your training. And I'm not just talking about turning wrenches. I'm talking about training as far as running the business, the back end, the back office. Can you afford the software, the CRM? Do you understand what profit and loss statement? Do you have a business coach so that as you're growing this business, you know when to expand, you know when to pull back, you know when to put money in the payroll and start hiring people? Who's the first person you hire? Oh, you just gonna throw some shit at the wall, excuse my language, and see if it sticks. Let me tell you something. Miss Ward, one thing y'all love about me, I'm going to keep it a buck and I'm keeping it real because I'm speaking from experience. What you going to do when times get slow and you don't have the resources, you don't have them cash flow jobs coming, and then you don't have a net 30, net 60, net 90 account. You haven't even built business credit, or either you start and you stop and then nothing matches. So when you're trying to apply for stuff, nothing adds up. Because you don't understand the system changes. And it changes because you have people who don't know what the hell they're doing go out here and they muddy up the waters and mess it up for everybody. This is why you have to stay current. You can't sit here and watch TikTok talk and watch all this other mess. Every time there's some type of data breach, you're going to go and do a wipe on your personal credit and wipe. No, no, no. All that stuff is old. This is why you have to learn financial instruments. You have to learn tax strategies. You have to learn that if I'm going to go and finance a vehicle through my business, how much does it need to weigh, and what's the advantage of the tax write-off and shelter that comes with it? Or do I need to get something that is an EPA regulated vehicle that's going to be a write-off? At the end of the day, this is the 360 side of business. How you survive in business is, number one, staying current, staying ahead of the curve, and on top of the data and the trends. So as you get these bags, you can really make a bag. And the problem with so many people, particularly in the trades, is that you got people and swindlers coming in here and hustling you because you think it's a quick fix. Miss Ward has never lied to y'all and told you it was going to be easy. I've always told you, be trained, be trained. What you going to do when you walk into a customer's home and you scratch the floor? I'm going to give y'all a quick story. I'm so on top of my game by the grace of God. I take no credit for this. I scared a customer. I was doing a job and I was doing a seal system, and I covered the floor with all the protection. You know, I'm dotting my I's and T's, but you know, I'm still new. You know, at the time I was still new to seal systems. You know how it is. You in people's house, you got torches. You know, you could burn the whole damn house down. You're so nervous. I mean, that's life. But how else do you get good? But you got to put your reps in. So I'm at the customer's house. I had everything covered in some kind of way. One of the cinders, when I was welding, I think it was a piece of copper or something. When I was separating one of the lines, it dropped and hit the floor. Now I could have acted like I didn't see it because it was really a small mark. Like, it was really something I didn't even have to say nothing about. But because I am truly a woman of God and a believer, I'm not going to do something and then be sweating, wondering when it's going to come back in karma and hit me in the back of the head and mess up my reputation, to get rid of my 5 stars and my relationship with the vendor that I was servicing or a representative of. So because I'm a true adult and a real business person, I let the customer know. Now, it was a floating floor. So anyone that knows about floors, you know that's just a continuous floor through the house, the kitchen. It's all connected. And that those are really hard to repair. So that's roughly $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 job easily, right? If they had to redo the whole floor. Now, right out the rip, I finished the job. I showed the customer, and she was like, well, I appreciate you being honest. I said, well, look, I got $1,500 on me now. Just in good faith, I'll give you this 15. And then, you know, once you get the estimate or whatever, I'll take care of the balance. That lady was shook. She was like, what? You gonna give me money? Something ain't right about this. But what I'm doing is I'm putting it out there because I'm not gonna put this on my insurance, because I don't need my insurance going up. I'm already got cover in 4 states. So the last thing I wanted was to hurt my brand or hurt my insurance. But that comes from the fact that I know I keep enough stash so I don't have to. But how was I able to do that? I was able because, number one, I live beneath my means. I don't spend the business money except on the business, which is things I had to learn. I've worked on not commingling funds because this is practically my life. So it's easy to swipe when I'm in Publix the wrong card instead of Publix. And then if I do something, I got my stipend set up so that's covered. But that's all tax strategy. What am I telling y'all? This comes from experience. So when people come to me and I'm telling them there are no shortcuts, set this up. Now, does everybody do it? No, because we're human. Everybody gonna push the envelope. I don't need all that. You know how many people came back and said, you know what, Miss Ford, you was absolutely right. Am I patting myself on the back? No, I made the same mistakes. So I have grace with them and with myself. And that's what I mean about constantly pushing yourself. And this is why you have to have a mentor. You're going to get in situations that you don't see coming, and you're not going to be focused on the business because your emotions and your humanity to get in the way. This is why you have to have systems. You have to rinse and repeat, and you have to stay on top of the game, and you got to have an end game. And as you stay in business, no matter what it is, those end games are going to eventually change because your vision is going to change, what your exposure is going to anything you're exposed to is going to influence you, and hopefully it will level up your game. That's the point. But then again, you got to watch the circles you're in. You got to watch the mentors and the people you follow. You got to watch how you conduct yourself. You have to watch your accountability. You got to watch how you move and your morale as a person, because the key is business will whoop your ass on a daily basis when you're trying to do it. Operative word, trying to do it the right way. I mean, for years, y'all have leaned on the fact I wasn't raised with it. They kept it from us. Let me tell you something. They keep it from everybody if it's in a book because nobody want to read. I was just having that conversation today. I was like, look, everything you need is in a book somewhere. And if you know, like I know, you better get as many of the books as you can, because those getting ready to disappear too. Because see, if they put everything and download it for you, guess what? They can remove stuff. They can redact stuff. And this is why you have to study life, study history, and study trends. Because one thing that's consistent is people. People don't change, and people do the same stuff from generation to generation, because the basic human belief systems and human emotions will cause people to make mistakes that will affect not just their lives, but for generations to come. Break those generational curses and make better choices, meaning that sometime you're going to have to be by yourself. Sometimes you're going to separate yourself from everything you know in order to have something not just for you. And a lot of this, a lot of us won't even see it, but for generations before, after you. See, if you're really serious about life, you'll get it together, and you'll get mentorship. You don't have to get it with me, because trust me, I'll be chewing them up and spitting them out, because I don't take everybody. I don't have time for games. I'm not going to be protecting your feelings, because people out here protecting your feelings, they just get in the bag because they know you soft. They know you ain't going to make it through and you ain't serious. So they're like, they're going to coddle you and all this other mess and get your money and when your money run out, they on to the next one. They looking for the next fool. Miss Ward going to keep it real, and I keep it real on this channel, and I keep it real with you. Get you a mentor, get you systems, and understand where your weak points are and focus on that. Start to read the things you don't understand and find out how to understand them. I'm going to give you a prime example. Another one. This week, I'm always working on my business credit in the back end of my business. And I have multiple businesses because I understand that whenever you are learning something, you got to have plan A, B, C, and D. And you got to have it in such a way, okay, this business is covering this and this business is covering that. So I'm going to give you a prime example. I had an issue where I was looking at funding because my goal this year is I realize I need well over $1 million for the projects I'm doing. I probably needed 3 million, but most people think this is all I do, but people who know me, they know I'm always on it. And but what I have learned is how not to talk about it, because it ain't for everybody. And so I'm going to leave that where it is. If you know, you know. So getting back to that. So I need probably between 3 to 5 million to do every project I want to do. Right. And to do it in such a way that I can build it out with the proper people who are properly certified, who are experts in their field, pay them properly, and manage the project and make sure that I don't have money going out the back door. Like, is that real? So anyway, and these are things that I don't take no credit. These were things that were deposited in my spirit. So I'm very clear. It's an assignment bigger than me. So getting back to it. So I'm going back looking at my companies. And I work really hard to make sure those ratings stay in place. And anybody running business and life, that's very hard, particularly in this economy, if you don't have your head on the swivel. So in one of my companies, I had a UCC1, which is, I think it's a uniform commercial credit thing. And someone had put a lien on one of my companies. I was like, what the hell? All my bills are paid. Like, what's happening? And so it was an error. But the thing about it was I called the county. I called the state, I reviewed the state, there was nothing there. And because the state had privatized those filings, it was actually in a private company, hidden. It wasn't even listed with the state, but it was listed with the company. So I tracked it down, sent an email. They responded immediately, thank God. And then I went to the source, and the source apologized. And they sent in a UCC3 because they agreed that everything was paid on time and that it was an error on their part. Now, the businesswoman in me was relieved it was handled, But the other businesswoman in me, the legal one, was like, okay, how many times has this affected me negatively in my business from any funding? Because this was showing up on my report and I wasn't aware of it. Because in order for them to find this, you got to realize it wasn't on my business credit reports. It was actually a source that funding companies use behind the scenes. You know how everybody talks about LexisNexis and all that good stuff, how LexisNexis got the day you was born, the first pair of shoes you wore and everything else from day one to now. If you ever go to LexisNexis and pull your report, you're going to be sick to your stomach. I'm going to tell you that, but this is not financial advice. I'm just telling you my experience. Y'all better learn these financial instruments because these instruments are going to affect your credit score. They're going to affect your social ratings, and it's going to affect you the rest of your life. You better figure this stuff out, and you better figure it out now because now it's all going through AI, which means AI ain't a person. They ain't got no feelings. They just got parameters. And if you follow these parameters, right or wrong or indifferent, you are out of the game. So this goes back to that mentorship. So anyway, the legal side of me was like, okay, I need to go ahead and start proceedings to sue these people and get money because they have adversely affected my report. See, most people be like, let it go. No, I have learned in business, handle your business, smile and be professional. But always the pen is mightier than the sword. It's mightier than the tongue. It's mightier than you cussing people out because that ain't getting you a bag. See, I'm all about bags, and I'm all about bags that what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And the fact that they sent me a document stating it was their error, oh, you know I'm going to get that bag. But this is what I mean about mentorship. That's going to be 20, 40, 40, 50, maybe 100,000 because this company makes millions of dollars. So that 100,000 they got to pay me ain't going to be nothing. But the key is that you always hear people talk on the personal side about how they use the statutes and consumer law to go back and sue these companies for 5, 1,000, 10, 15,000. But when it's your business credit, just like in business credit, they give you multiple funding. They do the same thing. They do the exact same thing on the business credit side. But see, people are sleeping. And if I didn't know it, and if I hadn't been exposed, and I didn't study the things I studied, I would not have been able to handle it. I would have been, I mean, we all been there. Y'all done seen stuff show up and you be like, how am I going to deal with this now? You know, I'm too busy running a business. I don't have time to stop and do this. But this is what I mean about mentorship. If I had not been exposed, if I didn't have mentors, and if I hadn't invested in those mentors, some that were good and some that sucked, because you know everybody got the shiny objects out here. They make it look like they know what they're talking about, but they polish it up, and then you talk to them and find out you know more than them. But that's the name of the game. This is why you got to vet people and you got to be willing to roll the dice. But the only way you're going to learn is to read and apply. And this is what I'm talking about. Get your mentorship together, get your business credit together. You better get your cash right because 2025 is ruthless. They already coming out the door. If you ain't on top of crypto, Bitcoin, understand what smart contracts and what blockchain really is and what it represents, you done. I'm gonna be the one to tell y'all. You cannot use the excuse of I'm uneducated. If you're an American uneducated, you want to be because you can teach yourself to learn. Education is practically free. There are several programs that they are dumping money in to get you up to speed, whether it's IT, whether it's the trades, whatever it is. And any service industry you go in, you better get these certifications from the NATE certification to the EPA certifications. Let me tell you something. And let's not even talk about, like I was just discussing, shout out to Sam, we were having a conversation about all the inspection certifications you can get as an inspector. And I'm not just talking about home inspections. I'm talking about HVAC. I'm talking about, what is that thing? Backflow, whatever, like fire inspector. There's a lot of inspection licenses you can get where you don't have to be a certified person, like whether it be a plumber or what have you. You'd be surprised. And those inspections will put you in rooms where you can run a whole business just going through and checking boxes and getting paid. Like y'all better figure out a skill and you better get trained up because there are areas that you can go in and dominate, make enough money to change your family life as long as you get the bag and know what to do with it. Anyway, y'all, I got to stay on schedule. I wanted to get that out. Like I said, mentorship is key. Financial literacy is key on the personal and the business side, and understanding how to manage the estate, whether it be trust, whether it be insurance. You got all these people sending these saying all these what's the word, hype words out here, and don't tell people the truth. And people out here talking about universal life insurance and how to invest and the waterfall method and the Rockefeller method, and all of them are just keywords. At the end of the day, do not believe what people tell you. Open these books and understand. People talking about tax strategy. Do you know how easy it is to go to the IRS website and just read? It's in like third and fourth grade English. Read the stuff and understand and apply it. It's not that hard. But see, most people don't have the discipline. They want everybody to give them the answers. Let me tell y'all something. I'm the kind of coach, I'm going to give you the game, but I'm going to hold you accountable. And I'm going to teach you in a way where you can do it without me. The only reason you ain't doing it is because you don't want to do it and you got comfortable. It's a lot of people I've coached to so far above where they were that they got lazy and they got comfortable. Now they got to come back and pay me again because I ain't doing nothing for free. That's another game. Do not be talking to people for free out here. I made a video about my worst mistake is so far in January 2025 was giving out free game. This one here I'm giving because God put it on my spirit that somebody need to hear. Get your house in order before January is over. This ain't nothing to play with. Get your bags together and keep them together, because when I tell you there's a reason there's a BOI form, y'all out here playing. The people who haven't filled out that form, more power to you, because everybody want to hide from the government. You ain't hiding because you still out here using digital stuff. You think they ain't grabbing game? You still out here using these phones, telling all your business, text and everything. You still using Venmo, Cash App, all this other stuff. You think that people don't have access? Man, this is a data-driven world, and data is the gold of this era. I'm trying to tell you. But enough about that. I'm getting hyped. I got to get out here and I got to grab packages and keep it moving. I got things to do. But Miss Ward loves y'all. I want you to win. And remember, the bag ain't waiting on you, man. You got to go get it. Miss Ward signing off. Have a great night.